Hi guys, what's going on? And this is the Fusion recap. We're going to be recapping the grand finals as well as the beginning of Europe. And I know I've been slacking a little bit on some of these videos lately, but to be honest, I woke up maybe Monday, I was feeling sick, and when you're feeling sick, you just don't feel like making videos, don't feel like doing anything, so I didn't do anything Monday really. Tuesday, felt a little better. Got my news video out, that was like a day late, and now we're here, and I've been slacking a little bit, but in this video we're gonna just cover everything that I haven't covered yet. So we're gonna go over the grand finals of North America and then the beginning of Europe. So yep, as always, if you guys do enjoy, hit subscribe, and yeah, let's get right into it. So what happened with North America? How did it all end? So let's start off with 3v3. After Envy beat Rogue, I don't even think I covered the semifinals, but yeah, after Envy beat Rogue in the semifinals, Envy moved on to the grand finals to face off against Spacestation in the 3v3s. And I mean, Envy looks really, really good with Reddles. I mean, Reddles is just, he's a perfect fit for this team, I think. I think that they definitely should keep him. Even though they didn't beat Space Station, it was so close. So close. Except that last game. That last game got kind of out of hand, but it was a 7-0. But I mean, most of these games were like 1 or 2 goal games. They played very, very well up until the end where they just threw away the game. But yeah, no, I really like Envy. I think Reddles, he is their star player. You'd think it would be Atomic. Atomic played insane this last season of RLCS, but Reddles has been absolutely playing so well lately. So I don't know. It's like they have 2 star players. And the thing about Atomic is that he's good even when he's not. Atomic has like 2 modes. He's either on or he's off. But even when Atomic's off, he still plays really, really well. But Reddles is like always on. Reddles just has 1 mode and it's just on fire. That's his only mode that he has. So yeah, see how this team does in the future. So we have Space Station Gaming versus Affinity. I can't say I'm surprised Space Station swept Affinity because, look, the top half of the 2v2 bracket, I said it in my other videos, I don't like the seeding. It was stacked. All the best teams for 2v2s were on the top half of the bracket. So after the semifinals, you knew who was going to win it. Also, Space Station, probably the best top 2-2s team in the world. The only other team I could think of is Alpha 54. And who does he play with? K-Dop or Fairy Peak? I don't even remember. But I still think Civical's probably the best 2s player. A little above Alpha. And yeah, just no surprise there. Space Station easily take that win. And I mean, all very convincing games. There wasn't a single game that they didn't win by more than 2 or 3 goals. It was a dominating performance, the 2v2 grand finals. And then we have the 1v1 for North America. And what did I say? I said that after the semifinals, the game was over. Or, I mean, the bracket was over before the quarterfinals even happened. We knew First Killer was taking this. Magic Bear was the only other player that I could have seen maybe beating First Killer because of how well he was playing. And then he DC'd. So, and didn't even play. So yeah, I mean, props to Lion Blaze being the only person to even take a single game off First Killer. He took off 2, but they were 1-goal games, and then the games that First Killer won, they were 2, 3-goal games. First Killer was just better, okay? And at the end of the day, because Space Station Gaming won 2 brackets, they won the whole thing, followed by Rogue and Affinity. So Affinity did a lot better than I expected. Envy's really only good at 3s, let's be honest. They were out in 2s and 3s. I'm sorry, they were out in 1s and 2s right away, but they made it to the grand finals of the 3v3s. And Stromboli, unfortunately, couldn't get a single win, but it'd be like that sometimes. And now let's get into Europe, and Europe's had a couple crazy matches that we're going to go over. So first one is Renault Vitality versus Tree of a Kind. So remember the format for this, I'm going to do 3s, 2s, and 1s. Since I have 2 days to go over, I'll do 3v3s first, then the 2 2s matches, then the 2 1s matches. So, Renault Vitality versus Tree of a Kind. And, I'll be honest, I'm surprised that Tree of a Kind was able to take a game off of Vitality. Alright, I think that's a good showing. I mean, these guys, they're an RLRS team, but at the same time, it's Vitality, okay? If I said this in one of my North American videos, if Vitality lost to rival series teams, then they would be in rival series. That's just kind of how it works. That's why I really didn't think that Tree of a Kind could beat Vitality. And to be honest, Vitality doesn't even lose to RLCS teams. They are the top of the RLCS. So there's just no way they were losing to Tree of a Kind. It's just kind of how it works. 3v3s are going to be dominated by the RLCS teams. There's no shame in that. I mean, they are RLCS teams. Tree of a Kind didn't make the Fusion tournament because they were good at 3s. They made it because, honestly, because they're good at 1s, which is where they're going to really try to shine. Then we had Solari versus Team Singularity, and this is really weird because they add Scrub Killer to the team, and Scrub Killer virtually does nothing in the 3s matches that they played and the 2s matches. It was all Noli and Tho. But at the same time, Singularity still looks better than they did last season. I think that, crazy enough as it is, Scrub Killer is actually going to be playing a support role on this roster, which is something that you just wouldn't have thought about. Scrub Killer back in Season 7 he was my pick for the best player in the world in Season 7, alright? He was the most mechanically gifted, he was just nuts Season 7. Alright, and that's why they won world championships, because Scrub Killer was crazy. But now, Scrub Killer doesn't seem like he's playing at that like top peak vitality form anymore, right? He's still really good. I think he's a much better pick than Godsmilla, but at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if he really fits into to a supporting role. I mean, I'll be honest, I think that all 3 of those players on the team are not third man, or quote-unquote third man roles, right? They don't play third man roles. Scrub Killer never really played a third man role. Nolly and Tho, you know, they played while Godsmilla kind of sat back most of the time. I'm interested to see. I think that it's a lot of wasted potential. In fact, I think that a good playstyle for Singularity would actually be to try to copy maybe an abridged version of maybe G2's playstyle, where everyone could get on offense and do something, you know what I mean? Because none of these guys really strike me as a third man. I mean, I don't think I think you're wasting all these guys' potential if you put them as third man, which is why, you know, maybe take a note from G2. I don't know, maybe rework the playstyle, because personally I don't like Scrub Killer just being, I don't know, just not in the play a lot of the time. I mean, he'll get a lot of assists, but he had virtually no goals in the 3s games and in the 2s games. Alright, in the 2v2 matches, which we'll get into right now, Singularity versus Stormtroopers, they had to sub him out because Scrub Killer just wasn't playing that well. And to be honest, Scrub Killer is obviously much better at 3s and 1s than he is at 2v2s, but still, I mean, they were getting their asses handed to them the first few games, and then right when they switched out Scrub Killer for Nolly, they scored 10-1. 10-1. It was pretty nuts, just the difference. So I want to see a little bit more of Scrub Killer on this team. I still think Scrub Killer has the potential to be a top player in Europe. It's just, I don't know, Mouse Sports, we didn't really see a lot from Scrub Killer. I think that team really just didn't mesh well, and we saw that when Arju came in and they started playing well. You know, I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. I guess I'm just not a fan of the positions. I always thought Tho would be the third man on this team, but he was scoring everything. Tho had the most goals, I think. Maybe Nolly, but definitely not Scrub, so really weird. And then we had Sandrock Gaming versus Oxygen Esports. This was honestly an upset. Sandrock Gaming I thought that they were one of the top 3 2v2 teams in the world, up there with Sipical and Arsenal. And again, who was Renault Vitality's 2v2 player? I think it was Alpha, and I forget who else. It's either K-Dop or Fairy Peak. But Sandrock Gaming was my pick for at least going. I thought they would go the distance. I thought they would lose in the grand finals of the 2v2 to Vitality, honestly. But you know what? They're out to Oxygen, and to be honest, Oxygen, or Astral and Shazette, both were playing insane. This is one of the best I've seen Shazette play in a while. I think Astral really helps bring out the best in Shazette, which is really cool to see. But yeah, this really was an upset, despite Astral and Shazette being 2 top tier players. I mean, Okhalid and Ahmad, they should have had this, but alright, that's just how it went. And let's get on to the 1v1s. So we have Sandrock Gaming versus Solari, and that was Okhalid versus Exotic, and this really was one of the best 1v1s of this entire Fusion tournament. I really like that very first one. I think it was Vision versus Divine, but this one as well. This one might even, I mean, this one was just so good. I don't know where I rank this on my list, but it's up there. So let me just tell you something. Imagine a player who literally cannot miss the very top corner of the goal, and they score almost 10 plus goals a game. Well, that's what this game was like. Okhalid could not miss the top corner, and they weren't slow shots either. It was like 110 kilometer per hour shots, top corner, completely unsavable. And it got to the point where Okhalid was hitting the top corner so consistently with such power that Exotic just decided, okay, I have to start going for stupid challenges, like challenges you would never see a 1v1 player make, just diving in at the ball. He had to, because he had been punished for playing defensively so much that it's like, okay, if I continue to let Okhalid just shoot the ball, he will continue to hit the top corner with maximum power, because that's what he did for 2 games in a row. First game he scored 6 goals, then 14. And every goal was just a banger. And at that point, Exotic was like, okay, I legit have to just challenge everything. Because if he didn't challenge everything, he wouldn't win. And every other goal that Okhalid scored, it really was just Exotic not challenging the ball early. Or it was Exotic challenging the ball early, and since, you know, it doesn't always work out, Okhalid would just go for a fake. Or Okhalid had a lot of options. Because his shooting was so good, Exotic literally could not play defensively. I think there was one time throughout this entire game where Exotic saved one of Okhalid's bangers, and it was a pre-jump save. Like, Exotic knew exactly where that ball was going. Top shelf banger. I might be making it sound like Okhalid dominated the game. He didn't. At first he did, but then when Exotic, like I said, he started early challenging, he really started to get the upper hand in some of these matches. Like, if you look at match number 3, he finally beat Okhalid after his 3rd game, and that's because he was doing early challenges and Okhalid had to adapt to it. But then in game 4, Okhalid was like, okay, if you're going to early challenge, I'm just going to fake. And then Exotic finally in the next 2 games was throwing in a combination of early challenges and stuff like that just to kind of throw off Okhalid's game. And then Okhalid's ground shots became a lot less, I guess you'd say, deadly, because since Exotic was finally mixing it up, he wasn't sure what he was going to do. Exotic wasn't just sitting back playing defensively, which seemed to be his game plan going into the game, but yeah, that quickly changed once Okhalid could not miss the top shelf. And I implore anybody who hasn't seen that match to go watch it. It is just crazy how accurate. Okhalid is one of the best shooters in the world, one of the most accurate shooters. It's crazy. In the entire world. Nuts. Up there with the likes of Fairy Peak easily. Just some of those guys in terms of just placing the ball, putting it in the back of the net always. Just insane. And then the last 1v1 match we have to talk about is, I know everyone's probably been waiting for this, Joria's versus Apparently Jack. And Joria's one of the best 1v1 players in the world, gets reverse swept by Apparently Jack. Someone who, I'll say it, Apparently Jack he doesn't have a lot of standing in the 1v1 arena or in the 1v1 competitive scene, really. And when I say that, I mean we haven't seen too much of him, okay? He is very, very little to go off of, right? No tournament results. Apparently Jack did have one show match he played on Johnny Boy's stream, if I remember correctly, which he lost to, I think it was Rebezi, if I remember correctly. But honestly, this just kind of came out of nowhere. I truly thought after the first 3 games, I was like, yeah, this is exactly how the game was going to go. You know, Apparently Jack really, really blew away expectations. And also, I can't help but think that Joria's just completely through. It wasn't Apparently Jack just playing like one of the best players in the world. He was playing good, but Joria's just started playing, like, honestly, he started playing kind of bad. You know, I hate to say it, but he really went from playing at the top of his game to, it was like a completely different player after game 3. Missed touches, passing the ball to Apparently Jack, really, really was just completely off his game. And yeah, I mean, if you're going to start passing the ball to your opponent, you're going to lose. And that's just what happened. And yeah, that has basically been everything. If you guys did enjoy, hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.